The deadly pandemic kept this school closed for 200 days, but not anymore. Children are back in class, despite Brazil remaining the world's third largest COVID-19 hotspot.
I'm afraid, but we have to take a risk, right?
Not all students have returned, but 10-year-old Isabella has decided to take the plunge. She's taking precautionary measures against coronavirus and says she prefers being back at school than at home, learning online. But Isabella's first class in 6 months may be one of her last.
We've had 4 injunctions in 48 hours. We don't know what will happen next. All over Brazil, decisions are taken one day and radically change the next week.
Political squabbles have turned Brazil's educational system into a shambles. Isabella's family of 5 is struggling to get used to the pandemic and to the changing guidelines.
The only rule in Brazil is that there is no rule, whether to wear masks or not, whether to reopen schools or not. Mayors say one thing, governors say another. Trade unions fight back and the federal government has no policy. Every family is on its own.
Isabella's daughters study at a private school, but lessons will remain online. Her son Bruno was accepted by a public university free of charge. He had 1 week of classes before the pandemic shut down his college. His father Fabio is a teacher at the state-funded school for the hearing impaired. This is the first time he has stepped into the building in 6 months, and it is still empty.
A huge percentage of Brazil's public school and college students have no access to internet or the means to follow online courses.
But many in Brazil say children should be back in class and have staged protests to make their point. If bars, stores, and shopping centers have reopened, they say, then schools should be allowed to do the same.
Before the pandemic, this school had 180 students. The first day it reopened, only 38 showed up. The second day, only 5. Brazilians aren't sure if schools should be open or not, if it's legal to do it or not. There's only one rule everybody seems to agree with. Playgrounds like this one are off limits.
The owner says she followed all the safety procedures, but Brazilian authorities keep going back and forth.
Some parents need to leave their children here because they have to go to work and don't have good internet connection for online classes, but they don't know who to trust.
Meanwhile, bills keep coming. And since there has been no final decision if schools should reopen in Rio de Janeiro or elsewhere in Brazil, students, teachers, and parents remain in limbo. Monica Yanakiew, Al Jazeera, Rio de Janeiro.